It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. Today, we welcome a British sensation who is making her mark in the boxing ranks. She's a two-weight world champion, having held the WBC female light welterweight title since October and the IBO female lightweight title from 2017 to 2019. As an amateur, she won a silver medal in the light welterweights division at the 2010 European Union Championships. She's ranked as the world's best active female light welterweight by BoxRec and third by The Ring magazine. It's Wham Bam Chantelle Cameron, and she joins this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN right now with your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream edition of Listen In with KNN, presented right here on our home station, Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, with me, your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. I can't believe this is the last show of 2020. Where did this year go? I just have no clue. It went so quickly. But nonetheless, I decided to end with a bang, welcoming another female to the ranks, a female who is currently making a huge name in the sport of boxing. If you know me, you know how much I love boxing. I can't wait till COVID is over so I can get back traveling into the boxing ranks and covering some great bouts. And today I am joined by the former IBO World Lightweight Champion and the current WBC Super Lightweight World Champion. So yes, I'm bringing in the greatest of the greatest of the greatest. She is none other than Chantelle Cameron, and she's joining me right here live on Listen In with KNN. I'm going to bring her in, and a special thanks for her for joining us. She is over in the UK, so the time difference is drastic, but nonetheless, she wanted to be here with us on the show. Chantelle, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I mean, I'm so excited to have you here. First off, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Good, yeah. I had a good Christmas and a good Boxing Day with the family.
Yes, Boxing Day.
Been sleeping a lot mainly. Good couple of days.
Awesome. I love to hear that. And Chantelle, just continuing on, how was your Christmas?
Really good, yeah. It was really good. Obviously, with everything happening this year, it was nice just to have a bit of normality, having the family around and just spending time with the family, really. It was nice.
Can you still hear me okay, Chantelle?
So what's that?
Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, but you've just frozen.
I'm going to add myself back. Here we come. Oh, no. Technology. Now my Wi-Fi doesn't want to act right. Give me 1 sec. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, Chantelle.
There you go.
In the boxing room.
I was talking, I was thinking, it's frozen. I didn't know if to carry on talking or not.
Oh my gosh, so sorry about that. But look, just like in the boxing ring, you never give up, right? You always got to come back, and you always finish strong. But now we can
No
go
quit.
back. How was your holidays and Christmas? Did you get to relax a little bit?
Yeah, it was really good. Like I went for a run and then I went boxing yesterday.
Nice.
Just so I didn't feel so bad for eating everything and laying on the sofa. So I thought, well, I'll do one session a day and I won't feel so guilty.
I'm proud of you.
It was nice. I just spent it with the family, which you don't, because I'm always on the move. I'm always on the go. I don't really. I can't remember the last time where all my family have sat down.
Wow.
So it was really nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. I know your family was happy to have you because I know you're busy. I'm sure, like you said, you don't usually get a chance to just sit down and just relax, right?
Yeah, I feel bad the other day. My mum and dad, they both contacted me saying they're gonna have to start FaceTiming me because they never get to see me anymore. And I felt awful. I was like, they only live down the road. And when they said that, I was like, oh, that's really bad. I need to make more time.
Yeah.
And then my dad's saying about never seeing me and stuff. So Christmas Day, I feel like I made up for it.
Well, look, I feel like your parents, it's okay when you're not seeing your child when they're a world champion. I'd be like, oh, it's fine. You get to yeah, I don't get to see my daughter, but she's busy being a world champion. So like, that makes everything just a bit better.
Yeah, I think that makes it for a little bit.
Because you're a superstar. And let's talk about that. Since we're touching on your parents, let's talk about your childhood. Let's talk about growing up. I mean, you are a boxing superstar today. What was it like growing up in Northampton in the United Kingdom? Because as I understand it, you used to kind of pick on the boys a little bit and send boys to so you got to tell us about that story.
Yeah, I used to. So I grew up in an area where there's nothing happening, and I think when I was about 7, 8, they even took down the local park, so we had nothing. Wow. They wouldn't let us in youth clubs. I don't know what it was, but we never had nothing to do. So it was boredom. So I used to just always be getting into fights with the boys, like play fighting. So and I weren't really into other sports. So I weren't really into football, basketball, netball, nothing. I just enjoyed fighting. So I used to make all the kids play fight with me, but I used to always make them cry. So their mums used to come knocking on my door, like complaining. And my mum was quite rowdy, so my mum would pretend them to get off one. So yeah, I think it was the best thing for me is going learning some martial arts and getting some discipline.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, I mean, you made a career out of it. So one day your parents are probably yelling at you for always getting in trouble, and now today you get paid to do it, right? So
yeah, even better. It's a shock. You never think you earn a living from it, and never imagined actually doing this as a career. It's mainly just to keep people from knocking on my mum's door. The fact that now I'm getting paid to fight is even better.
Now your mom wants people to knock on the door. Yes, she'll fight her. It's money, right? And I think that's great to hear. And as a female coming up in the UK, getting into boxing and kickboxing, were there any challenges that you faced that you feel like just tried to prevent you from getting to where you are today?
I think so. When I first went into the boxing gym, I was the only girl at the time. So I think it was about 2010, I think I went in. And I was the only girl. I can remember it was very like, why is a girl in the boxing gym? She shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't go back. I hated it. I was literally like, I did not like the boxing gym. Yeah. I didn't go back for 3 months. And I can remember I went back and the boxing coach took me on the pads and he couldn't believe the power that I had. And it literally was just like a switch went off, because then he couldn't do anything more for me. And then because the coach was like that with me, then all the lads in the gym, they changed their attitude towards me as well, and they seen that I trained just as hard as them. Yeah. And whatever they done, I'll do the exact same. And I kept up. Well, I think they was expecting me to be a girl and be moaning, be like stopping halfway through, making excuses. But then even when I was sparring with them, I'd be getting better with them. So they had to respect me, didn't they? Because I was beating them up.
You could return it, right? So they had to put some respect on your name. And it just shows the stereotype people have about females and female boxers. And here you come and you break through that. And so when you sport today, Chantelle, do you feel like female boxing has made enough strides to get respect on a world scale today?
Oh, definitely. I feel like because most of the promoters now are putting women headlining shows, putting us on pay-per-view shows, world title, getting us women world title shots. It's definitely pushed forward, but it's still got a long way to go. I feel like as much moves as it's made, it's still got a long way to go. Like people have still got to keep pushing, and keep it improving, because it's still not equal, is it, to the men? And I think it's going to take a good 3-4 years to maybe 5 years even to rise, but it definitely has improved, and that's thanks to the promoters as well, because they're taking the gamble with us, and so far it's paying off.
Yeah, I love that you touched on the promoters, because I do think we see boxing more, like you said, it's growing. But I feel like we still want female boxers, to get to that top level and that top point. Because we have people like you, Chantelle, that can beat anybody that comes in their midst, and it's just getting to that point. So talk about your promoters and how they've supported you to kind of get to that point where you feel like you just have that support to stay a world star.
I think it's because you have to thank Katie Taylor and Clarissa Shields really, because they opened up the door, especially for professional boxing, for women's professional boxing, sorry. So I think it was the likes of them signing professional with the Olympic medals, where promoters were like open up their eyes, and for a woman boxer who's won an Olympic medal, I feel like we have to be thankful for them for opening the door for the likes of me and everyone else that's in the paid ranks now. I feel like if it was promoters that have took a gamble, and we didn't know how people would react to women's boxing, especially showing it on TV as well. And I think because there's been so many good female boxing fights, that's why people are paying more attention. If you put women in there having 50-50 fights, it's going to gain a lot more fans, and people will appreciate women's boxing a lot more. I feel like this year has been the best year for women's boxing because of the fights that have been showcased.
Yeah.
So
That's huge. And you talk about the fights that have been showcased. Like you said, 2020 has been a year for great fights. And bring it back to your childhood. I mean, I know it's probably harder for you to pick those childhood role models in boxing or kickboxing that you look up to. But were there any for you, Chantelle, that you saw that just kind of pushed you and propelled you and inspired you to be who you are today?
I think I've always just been really competitive. I've always been really competitive. So no matter who was in front of me or who I was up against, I knew that I had to win. And I'm a really bad loser as well. So I feel like that's been my inspiration, is the fact that I can't take losing.
Me either.
And I think it's my upbringing as well. I feel like my parents have always been very, like, I wouldn't say pushy, but they've always been very supportive, whereas like I can't be beat. Nobody can beat me, and made my mindset feel like there is no one that can beat me, and even if I get hurt, just poker face it. And I feel like that's really come through in my career. So even from sparring, and I sparred a few lads before, and they have hurt me, and they'll never know until at the end. I'll be like, that was a good shot. It's because I've just trained myself to have such a good poker face. And even when I've been caught with body shots in sparring, as much as I wanted to take a nil, I can't, because I think I can't do it. I'm gonna have to go through the pain. So I feel like that's helped me in my actual career. Learn a good poker face.
That resilience. You're never always gonna keep going.
I feel like that's from my family and my upbringing, that it's just born into me now, born and bred into me. And I think that's what I'm most grateful for from my parents, is giving me that mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And it needs to happen for both our daughters and our sons. I'm so happy you touched on that. And I'm curious,
definitely.
Even today when you box, do they ever get scared or nervous for you? Like, are your parents those parents that can't watch you maybe because you're just scared?
They actually do. So my dad gets really nervous. My dad comes to all of my fights.
Awesome.
But my mum struggles to come to him because she gets so nervous, because she's just like, I think my mum wouldn't care if I got my head punched in. I feel like my mum would probably be like, good, like shout for the other opponent, thinking all that time she's had people knocking on my door. she deserves a good beating. But my mum gets really nervous because she knows that if I did take a loss, how I'd react to it. So I feel like that's where my mum gets nervous. My mum knows that I'm not going to get like battered in the ring, because I can handle myself. But I feel like she's more worried about, if I do lose, how I would react to it, because I think I take it bad. I don't like losing.
Right, you're not used to it. Right?
No.
We don't plan on seeing you lose, Chantelle. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm not planning on losing.
She's in good hands. And just continuing on with that, with your childhood, as I understand it, you started off as a kickboxer, right? And you switched to boxing in 2010. What was that switch like for you? I'm sure it wasn't as easy, right? But I know there's similar skills and fundamentals that you use. But talk about that switch for you and how you were able to.
It was actually really hard, because people think that if you're a kickboxer, you can just pick up boxing just like that, but you really can, because it's your stance, how your hands are, just little habits that you have in kickboxing, because obviously you defend from kicks and you kick, so your stance is completely different because you need to get your legs up. Whereas boxing, you're more like sat down, your hands are a bit higher.
Right.
So I can remember it must have took my boxing coach a good 6 months, where it was just drilling all the time about my hands, my footwork, and it used to be so frustrating. I used to just think, oh, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to be a good boxer. And I can remember it was just because my boxing coach was so patient with me, and he was very particular. So if he's seen something that I wasn't doing right, he would always pick up on it, and he would never. But I'm grateful though, because it's done me the world of good. And any bad habits, like he just literally just ripped them off me, and would not leave me alone until I started doing what he wanted. So it was just through my boxing coach being so patient and being such a perfectionist that it made me get rid of my bad habits through kickboxing. But it did take me about a good 6-8 months, maybe a year. It took so long
to make that switch. And did you touch on the coaching aspect? I think that's so important. You know, you need a good coach to push and propel you, tell you when you're wrong, right? But someone that, you know, you want to keep going back for. So let's talk about your relationship with your coach now, and just what makes you guys work, what makes you guys mesh, and what makes it so special that you've now been so successful in your career.
So obviously I have my amateur coach that I still train with, but now as a professional, I train with Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis. So it's like they're different coaches, and I go up to Manchester. But it's good because them coaches have got my best interest at heart as well. So that when I am in the ring, it's different when you're in the ring, because your pride and ego take over. So you could get hit with a shot, and the next thing you just bolt back at the person thinking,
right,
I'm gonna have to get her back. But then you have to have your coaches there to kind of like pull you back in and give you a bit of a reality check. And just say like, no, calm down, like go through the gears, stick to the tactics, to kind of like keep you intact. Because otherwise, if you didn't have that sort of relationship where you don't listen to your coaches, you can end up losing fights just because you don't have the discipline. So I've got a very good team behind me, especially MTK, Jamie Moore, Nigel Travis, and then my amateur coach Drew. He's a massive part of it because he come through me for the amateurs, but I still train with him now as a professional, just because I think it's good to keep that base, especially he's at home in Northampton as well, and he knows me inside out. So he knows when I'm in a bad mood, when I'm in a good mood, when something's on my mind. He's just literally like, what's the matter? And I'm just like, oh, how do you know? It's just because he's worked with me for so long, he knows.
Which is good. That relationship is important, again, especially in the ring.
Definitely.
Right? That relationship. And then you touched on your amateur career. Let's talk a little bit more about this. I mean, Chantelle, today you are a current world #1 contender at both the lightweight and super lightweight levels. Major congrats to you. That's huge. But just talk about coming up in the amateurs and what that was like. And what skills did you kind of take from that you now use as a professional boxer?
So I must have had over 100 amateur fights. I was on Team GB for 8 years. So I think that was a massive benefit for me to go into the professionals because of the experience. I was boxing all over the country and all around the world, boxing different styles. So I feel like now in the professional ranks, it doesn't matter against what style I come against, because I'm used to boxing so many different styles in tournaments. So obviously in tournaments you could have 3, 4, 5 fights to get to the gold medal. So you'd always be boxing different styles, and you'd have to adapt just as quick as you can, because you didn't have time to study them, prepare for them. You just kind of had to just get in there and deal with it on the day. Yes, I feel like that's a massive confidence booster that I have in the pros, knowing that I can do that, I've got that ability. My amateur career was a roller coaster. I had like a love-hate relationship with boxing because I don't think my style suited the amateur scene, and I had a lot of bad luck with. Everyone says they get robbed in amateurs, but I generally had so many bad decisions. It was just like, it got to a stage where I was like, I can't avoid training, because as much as you train, you're up against the judges and you can't beat the judges. If they're against you, then they're against you. It doesn't matter what you do. And you can't stop people in the amateurs. The gloves are too big, you've got head guards on, and it was 4 2-minute rounds at the time. So it was very hard to manage that. And you're boxing world level opponents as well. So you're boxing people who is the best against the best.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I'm sure you took so much from it that you learned, right? And that you're using it to it today. You talk about just semi-contact kickboxing tournaments, right, as a child, to world titles and full contact kickboxing, and then you even in Thai boxing. I mean, Chantelle, everything. Talk about what that was.
I did Thai boxing as well. I won a world title in Thai boxing in Florida.
Yeah.
That was actually the hardest fights of my whole career ever.
Wow.
Like, when it comes to fights, I will never forget my Thai world title. Had three fights in 3 days.
Wow.
And it was just brutal. I remember my leg was in absolute bits. My leg was just black and blue all at the top of my leg. And I remember I went into the final and I couldn't even stand on it. I was in so much pain, and I knew that I had to fight. So it was just adrenaline that got me through. And I remember when my arm was raised, my leg just collapsed on me, and my coach had to hold me up. And I never forget when we tried flying home to the UK. I had the world title belt, and I remember my coach, because my leg was so bad, it was hard to sit in the normal seat because my leg was seizing up and I had cramp in it. And I remember my coach said to the air hostess, "She just won a world title. Can you upgrade her?"
That's the least for a world champ.
And they wouldn't upgrade me. I was absolutely devastated.
I love that story, but it makes sense. I mean, you needed space. You're trying to heal and recuperate, right? Your body needed to recover. And as we talk about that, let's talk about your most recent fight. I mean, that first world title, unanimous points victory, right, over the Adriana dos Santos. Just talk about that fight and what it meant to you to claim that title.
It was like, to be fair, because of this whole year, the pandemic.
Yeah.
I knew that I was getting a world title. I knew that I was getting a world title fight. But this time last year, I knew that 2020 I was getting a world title shot. And then the pandemic come about, and I was just like, this title was not going to happen because I had three different dates, and they just always cancelled. And I was thinking, I just can't see it happening this year. And I kind of just ripped the year off and thought, 2020, I'm probably not going to box. So I was mentally prepared for that. But at the same time, I was mentally preparing to fight. So I was kind of in limbo. So I was training and getting prepared, but each time I was getting a call saying, you got to fight, I was thinking, oh, I've heard this whole year. So I was kind of like, I trained the whole year. So I got myself ready for the whole year just in case, because I didn't want the opportunity to come where I had to turn it down.
Yeah.
But I remember it was really weird because I was thinking, am I not? And I can remember that it was concrete with about 4 weeks to go. But because I've been training anyway, I was ready and I was fit. But I remember it was 4 weeks before where I was actually like, it was confirmed that the fight was happening. Wow. And I can remember Adriana from the amateurs. So I had a lot of respect for her, and I was really nervous because we never met each other in amateurs, which is strange because we was both on the scene for so long, and we never crossed paths. But I can remember watching her a few times and remembering her being aggressive, a big puncher. And we even sparred in Brazil, because I can remember Tasha Jonas messaged me saying, do you remember sparring her? And I did, because it was in a Brazilian training camp. And I can remember sparring her, and I can remember she could really whack. But then I remembered me and Tasha were talking, it's because they had no padding in their gloves. And we told the coaches saying, like, they need to get some gloves with padding in, because the gloves literally were just knuckles. And I was thinking, oh, that's why she could punch, because she had no padding in the gloves anyway. And so I was really nervous, but I was expecting the fight to be a lot harder than what it was.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a lot tougher. I remember in the ring, I just thought, I don't think she wants to be here.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I was looking forward to a tough fight. I said it for years now. I want to be in tough fights. I don't want to be in fights where I'm just walking through them, because I want to be in like a bit of a war where you have to stand and like dig deep. And so far, I've not really had that. But I think now I've got this world title, and I'm hoping to box the other world champions. I think that's what it's going to be now. Is it'll be toe to toe, having wars and having to dig deep, and that's what I'm excited for. I can't wait. I think that's when people are going to see the best version of me, when I actually have to bite down on my gum shield. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, with Adriana, I was a bit shocked because she didn't bring what I was expecting.
Right.
And it was an easy fight. I could have gone another 10 rounds.
Wow. Geez.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got now, and you talk about wanting to fight the best, right? Because you are the best. And as we talk about that, you like competition. You're not afraid of it. We've heard this on this entire show throughout this interview. We talked about boxing, right, during the holidays, keeping yourself busy. What can we look forward to as we prepare to see the next fight with Chantelle Cameron?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be unification. I'm just waiting for that to be confirmed. Yeah. And if it's unification, it's champion versus champion, and nobody wants to lose their belt. And I'm definitely not letting my belt be taken from me. So all I know is that I'm going to be taking 2 belts home.
I love that.
I mean, it's going to be good.
It seems like it's limitless for you, right? You're just so talented and young still, and so much left in your boxing career. What would be like the ultimate thing for you, Chantelle? What's that ultimate thing that you want that would be the cherry on top of the career for you?
Fighting Kay Taylor and taking her belts.
That was easy, right? You're like, that happened.
That's a cherry on top for me. Taking the lightweight belts.
It's huge. And I think, again, you're getting to that point. And I think what I love about you and your boxing career, something I thought that was so interesting about you, Chantelle, is that I know at one point you had studied PE, right? Business and IT. And you thought about it as a career. So had you chose that career, we wouldn't be knowing the Chantelle Cameron that we know today, right? We wouldn't be knowing the super puncher and boxer that you are. So saying that, talk about that transition. Like, what really made you say, you know what, this is great, but boxing is what I want to do. It's what I live and do.
So I went sixth form, and I remember I really struggled to hold down a job, and I was thinking I'm not really 9 to 5 girl. And even when I was at school, even when I was kickboxing, it wasn't a career for me, it was a hobby. I still trained 5 days a week. So I've always trained hard, and even in the school holidays, I'd be training. So I was just always addicted to training, and it was like a second home. And I can remember I was actually applied to go in the army. Wow. And I never forget it. I got a phone call saying I had an interview with the army. Or I got a letter I got. And then I think it was a couple of days after, I got a phone call from the performance director of GB Boxing saying that they want me on the squad. And I was like, it's just crazy how things work out, because I planned to go to the army. And if it wasn't for getting that phone call at the time, I probably would have ended up in the army.
Wow, so different. It shows you how,
it's crazy how things work out.
Yeah, life sometimes happens, but I feel like, what your path, something always happens that tells you this is what you're meant to be doing. And that phone call easily changed your life. Now, of course, the rest is history, right?
Definitely.
Today. Do you ever look back, though, or just think like what you want to do after boxing, Chantelle? Have you thought about that yet?
Yeah, so I've emailed them, but I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I want to go to uni now, so do distance learning. I think I'm 29 now, and there is life after boxing, and I want to be a PE teacher. So I feel like if I start doing my studies now, then when it comes to hanging up my gloves, hopefully I'm qualified and I can go straight into my next career. But I don't want to hang my gloves up and I have nothing. I think that will be that scares me. That really scares me. The thought of hanging the gloves up and having nothing to fall back on. So I feel like now's the right time for me to start studying, but I'm just waiting for the university to email me back.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I just love that you're already planning for that. And shout out to the 90s babies, also a 90s. To everyone in their 20s. That's decade, right, Chantelle, that there is. And just hearing you, I've just been so inspired. So I'm curious to know, when young girls look at you, look at this interview, and they follow your career, and they're even following you on social media, what do you hope they see and take from you that will hopefully inspire them to see that they can be the next Chantelle Cameron or the next whatever that they want to be in this world?
I feel like perseverance, because I think one thing with me is I've always persevered, and I've not had an easy road to where I'm at. I had to win 2 mandatories to get my world title shot. My amateur career was rough. Obviously, people who know my boxing career know that I had SWAT teams. Like, I've just not had an easy road to get to the world title. So I feel like if the young people are watching that, the one thing I say is just persevere. If it's what you want and what your dream's set to, you just gotta take the highs and lows, and when you're out of the lows, just dig deep and stand back up and go again, because it'll all work out in the end. You just gotta keep pushing and pushing, and then one day you're gonna achieve your goal. Doesn't matter how hard and how long it takes, you'll get there in the end.
That's so inspirational. And just following up from that, I mean, at the end of the day, when we think about Chantelle Cameron, the boxer, what's one thing you want your fans in the world to know about you? What's the one thing you want us to remember about you when all is said and done?
I'll never back down from anyone.
That's well said. And you haven't. You haven't. So it's living proof. And I think, again, you're just so inspiring. I feel like the future of boxing is just in such great hands with you. Again, just super accomplished. You've been through so much. But what I love about you is that you keep going, right? You want more. You keep fighting. Then you're also preparing for life after boxing. Because I know that's hard. When you love something, it's just like hard to think about the aftermath. But again, I think you're a shining, bright example. And as we think about what you mean to represent your country, right, as a British boxer, what does that mean to you? Everything you put on the glove to represent your great country.
Means a lot, yeah. So even as an amateur, was always representing our country. So I remember the first time where I put the GB shorts and vest on, I was like, oh wow, I'm boxing for the country.
Yeah.
And it gives you like such a sense of pride, especially because now at world level as well, you have so many supporters and fans that are rooting for you because you're British. It's just it's such a good feeling because you know, like, you're making people proud and you're doing something good with your life and for the country.
That means a lot. It means a lot. You know, even just your accent is so refreshing. We need more of those over here. There's no way to get you over here. But again, I appreciate you taking time. You're busy. You're boxing preparing. I appreciate you joining me after the holidays. Today, my year, Chantelle. I really appreciate that. I had to end it with a bang, so when I was able to get with you, I was super excited. And just again, just best wishes to you. We're going to continue to follow your career. I've heard a good friend of yours, Savannah Marshall, also on this show.
Yeah.
Rooting for you both. Just rooting for you both. And just before I let you go, any last words for our listening audience?
Thank you for having me on for a start, and thank you for everyone listening. And I hope you follow my journey.
I appreciate that so much again. Chantelle Cameron, just a true professional. Follow her if you're not already. Follow us again. Watch out. Women are taking over the world. I just think it's in such great hands. Chantelle, I appreciate your time. Please don't be a stranger to this show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Angie, take care. Bye.
Bye. All right, you guys just heard from Chantelle Cameron. Again, just a super amazing boxer. If you don't know the name, I don't know where you've been, but you need to follow. She's a current WBC super lightweight world champion. As I said before, this will be the last show of 2020. We'll be back in January of 2021. Already have a great lineup coming for you all. And I have to give a big special thanks to all of you who have continued to follow the show all year long. Again, lots more coming in 2021, and a special shout out to my team. I know I'm the one person on camera, but I couldn't do it without them. Again, lots more coming. We still have new audio versions of the show dropping. So be sure to check those out on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. And I will see you all next year. I hope you all had a happy holidays. You can watch any versions of the show that you missed on my YouTube channel. Again, lots of amazing guests. And a very special thanks to each and every guest that has graced me on the show. So much fun. Every interview I take something from, and it makes me better. And it just makes the show continue to grow. And we're not stopping anytime soon. So again, appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay warm if you're here in the DMV area because it's pretty cold, but lots more coming. Have a great one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Follow Kelsey on social media at @TheRealKNelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.